Hadouken! Power up! Get over here!
Hello, everybody out there on YouTube. Once again, it is the three middle-aged dudes just bullshitting about nothing. I am the Reverend.
The theme here.
Gray Mouse 1.
And we are continuing on with our Geek Week in Review. Actually, we've stepped past the review. Comic-Con was pretty much about everything out there in the world other than comic books. You know, surprise, surprise. And we went ahead, we covered video games and everything else. We're going to continue on with the video game theme and on upon that that particular strain. Not the theme, but a theme of video games. And we're going to talk about a few things. The funny thing about this afternoon is that I've been messing around with some classic consoles and other things. I found out that the internal memory on my Saturn crapped out, which has gotten me all flustered and bothered and everything else. Never mind this 100-degree fucking heat out here in fucking California and everything. But I've been messing around with the new monitor and all the other things, and I surprisingly found myself spending a lot of time with this particular fucking device. This right here is a PlayStation TV. You can probably find this at your local electronics boutique or GameStop for
Did you say electronics boutique?
I'm sorry, I used to work for them, okay? Yeah, when they used to be called Electronics Boutique.
When have they been around?
Okay.
Oh, God.
But you can probably find this at your local GameStop. Yes, I know that gives away how old I am, but we are middle-aged, okay? I think for $40 now, actually. And this is pretty much your ability to play PlayStation video games on your full-size display and console and everything. And it's a pretty nifty device. This is my phone. And as you can see, the size comparison and everything else, and all this sideways. Yes, I know I've got the extra triple life battery on this fucking thing. Makes it a lot heavier than what normally is. But yeah, I had a lot of fucking fun. But Nintendo, and the Vita in general, they pretty much treated it like a redheaded stepchild. Okay? Maybe because they fell under the weight, the ominous feeling that no, they were not going to even be fucking competitive with Nintendo and the DS. And that was just obvious ever since the first PSP. But the Vita in itself is actually a pretty viable console. It's a pretty viable platform as far as gaming goes. And, you know, playing with the PSTV actually reinforced that idea to me. Now, that brings us to our current topic, what I actually asked the guys. I asked the guys, all right, this is nothing new. What are the type of things that you've seen first-party publishers, console makers do that just struck you as extra fucking retarded? What are the type of stupid things that you could recall that just really stick out to you now and influence your view and your decisions as a gamer today? And that's what we're going to explore right now. With that, I've set the table, guys. Floor is open. Feel free.
Okay. All right. For those that don't know, and I will be making a video about this very soon, finally got one of these.
Aha.
Now, it's the blue controller for my PlayStation 4.
I've actually used one of those for my PSTV, but go ahead.
All right. This is a Hori fighting game controller for the PlayStation 4. Yes, it's a substantial, 6 buttons here. It still has its shoulder buttons. But this is for the PlayStation 4, and it's compatible for the PlayStation 3, I think, as well. Yep. But let's analyze this. This is a fighting game controller, and most fighting games are played online nowadays more than anything else. The main thing that's wrong about this controller, it doesn't have a fucking jack for your fucking headphones. So let me get this straight. Yeah, you know what I'm doing. You're going to come out with a 6-button controller that's made for fighting games in this day and age, and fighting games are usually played online now, but you don't even have a fucking headphone slot for the fucking controller. Are you fucking kidding me? This is not the only controller that has done this. The Mortal Kombat XL controller also has that problem. Most 6-button controllers or even joysticks have that problem. Control. You must learn control. Well, that's one of the biggest problems that I've had with consoles. Look at the ColecoVision controller, that telephone thing. Look at the fucking Atari Jaguar controller, that telephone thing. Peripherals are a big problem.
You know what's funny is that I think they're assuming that you know to go ahead and sync up a Bluetooth headset to it.
Oh,
But
come on.
let's just be honest. Let's just be honest. There's a Bluetooth headset that I use on a regular basis, and that's the headset that I use is paired up with my phone, and I'm not going to sit there and go out of my way to pair it up with anything else. That's just how that is. The only other option is that if you go out of your way to spend like $300 on a dedicated set of wireless gaming headphones, which will allow you to sync it up to multiple devices. But I'm just going to be honest, that's not something that I look forward to doing, and that I don't have the spare money to do. No. What about you, Great Mouse? Anything off the top of your head, really, really stupid decisions that console makers made, or people who make peripherals for consoles, that really stuck out to you? It was like, why the hell did they think this was a good idea?
2013.
The Last Odyssey. A Microsoft console launched into the wild to survive and try to market itself.
That's all I got to say about that.
How about the Game Gear?
The Game Gear, the only
Not the system itself. Not the system. You know where I'm going with this.
Yeah, the only issue I had wasn't a portable, and that if you don't have 6 or 7 packs of batteries wherever you're going,
even so, you still can't play a whole complete game.
No. We've all done this. All 3 of us done this. We've thought that when we put the batteries in the system and we played columns or whatever.
You couldn't even get a full game of columns.
We're sitting there playing this. And then 10 minutes later, you're out of batteries, and we're like, oh,
10 minutes.
Way too much credit.
5 minutes. I'm sorry.
5?
You flip it over. Yeah, it lasted at least 5 minutes, man.
Oh, like half.
But you flip it over, and you think you got bad batteries. So what do? You go and get new batteries, put it in, and the same shit happened again. And you're like, what the fuck? That definitely... there's nothing wrong with the Game Gear at all. It's just that it's not a portable. You have to be stuck to the wall. Or back in those days, I don't know, didn't they have a cigarette lighter adapter that you could put it in your car and plug it up to your...
The Game Gear did also come out with its own external battery. It was an extra battery pack that you could go ahead and use on it. But
the Nomad had that as well. I still have a Nomad, but the Nomad one is rechargeable.
Yeah. The Game Gear one is literally just a fucking shell where you load up 8 extra fucking AA batteries into it, and it still affords you like just 15 fucking minutes of battery life, and that's it.
You see, I remember when the PSP was coming out, people were worried about that as far as battery life. But the Game Gear was ridiculous. And then, talk about portable. That wasn't a portable. The Virtual Boy, redness.
The funny thing about the Virtual Boy is that, like I said in previous videos, I worked in Nintendo, and I actually had the pleasure of walking somebody through calling the 800 number on how to tune and set up their fucking Virtual Boy. What a lot of people didn't know about the Virtual Boy, especially if you're only experienced with it, all you 40-year-olds, your only experience with it was stepping into a fucking kiosk at like KB Toys or Captron or the Nintendo back in the day, right?
KB Toys. Oh my God!
All right. Was sticking your face into this big red and black monstrosity, sitting there walking, standing up on 2 what it looks like AT-AT legs, right? And then after 5 minutes of gameplay, getting a splitting headache afterwards was the fact that if you didn't tune the 4 knobs, 2 up top, 2 on the bottom, you know, 1 for each eye or 2 for each eye, correctly, that the picture was going to be really out of sync and it was going to be all over the fucking place. It was going to fuck with you. Yeah, that was just horrible. And they actually called that a fucking portable console. It wasn't.
No,
it wasn't.
Wait a minute. Just
It became
because
portable when you threw it outside of your house.
just portable, just because you can pick it up and take it from another place or outside, that doesn't make it portable.
Here's another stupid thing that that's been done with cartridges specifically. Labeling their games. There are certain cartridge games that didn't do that, like the Nintendo 64 or the Super Famicom.
Keep on talking. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Well, I mean, you had to have your own label maker to
Yes.
put the names on the games.
Yes. And that is ridiculous to me. He went and got more. And then, okay, look. I didn't understand. All right, if you wanted to have a library of things and you want things to be easily gotten to, why did Nintendo have it? Super Nintendo had them, but the Nintendo 64 did not. That was stupid.
Okay. To illustrate that point, this is an NES cartridge. Okay, that's the front label, and you turn it to the side. Hey, look, it has a label there too.
Mhm.
All right, that's 8-bit. Okay, let's go to 16-bit. Same deal. Same gray fucking plastic that turns yellow after some time and everything else. So you have your label up in the front. You turn it to the side. There's the label again. It doesn't matter if you have your cartridge displayed this way or this way. You can go ahead and tell what's on there, right? Now let's go to the Nintendo 64. All right. Remember, Nintendo went ahead and said, fuck 32, we're jumping straight to 64, right? So everything should be that much better. Same gray fucking plastic that turns yellow in the sun and everything. But as you can see, label only goes up to here. Only reason why I could tell what it says is because this label right here, I fucking added.
Look.
I paid the $40 for the fucking Brothers machine and the $20 for the fucking label tape to go ahead and do this.
Okay, the Super Famicom was guilty of that as well. Super Famicom games didn't have anything above it. So I had to write them down. And I'm like, why the fuck would you come out with Ugh.
So you're telling me that you spent $60 just to label your damn 64 games?
Look, he wanted
Yes.
to organize.
Yes, I fucking did.
That's a game in today's standard.
Yes, I fucking did, okay? Yes, I did. I'm going to tell you why. Because the thing is that I cannot fit as many fucking cartridges standing up like this in a way where I could actually see them.
Yep.
Comparison to that, okay?
Oh,
And like I've said before, like we've had this conversation in other videos, shelf space comes at a fucking premium at my house, okay?
Literally.
Yeah.
What if there were PS4 or Xbox One games that didn't have that shit on the side of them? What if they were that fucking stupid in order to do that? PS5 and Xbox 2 better not be that fucking stupid.
You know what's funny is that there are a few Sega Saturn games that don't have the fucking side label on the spine.
Wait a minute, objection. The Sega Saturn games and the first generation PlayStation games, the fucking cases were like big, long fucking, but they only had CDs in there. 3DO was a portrayer in that shit too. And I didn't understand.
Well, I mean, at least Sega CD, at least they had the labels on the side. Even though the cases are kind of big,
You're
but
right.
at least they had the...
But there's actually a couple of Sega games that only have the Sega fucking logo on the side for the Saturn.
Yeah.
And then, Speaking of the Sega, how about the 32X? That looks like it's on life support. Just
Never
back and
owned
shit.
one.
Like no.
Okay,
It was the fact that not only the 32X that you had to have, but you had to have cords coming from it as well.
It had cords.
This wasn't enough.
okay.
It looked like it was on life support, you know? All the cords coming out of it.
I have the first generation Genesis. I have the first generation Sega CD, and I have a 32X.
Yes, he does.
I used to have all of that stuff connected all together. In fact, it's actually downstairs and everything. You need 3 AC adapters.
Yep.
A sync cable between the Sega Genesis and the 32X.
Ridiculous.
Audio mixing cable between the Sega Genesis and the Sega CD. And depending on what you're playing, an audio video cable for either the 32X or the fucking Sega Genesis. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fucking cables out the back of that thing, and that's not even including whether or not you have 6. That doesn't even include whether or not you have any fucking controllers. Yep. And it can get worse because the thing is that you got to remember that Sega also released something called the Master Console, which allowed you to go ahead and play Master System games through the fucking thing using the Genesis as a video pass through, and you can go ahead and stick that on top also, and that requires also I think its own set of cables too.
Yeah,
it can get really, really bad. You know,
I mean, so one thing too is like I think the worst culprit of all is that goddamn Power Glove, man.
What games were you playing with the Power Glove? For
my God.
Absolutely have it. Besides Rad Racer.
Racer.
I have one. The Game Boy Advance SP. Now, great as far as you can see your games in the jar. I put on my earphones and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. The Game Boy Advance SP does not have a headphone slot. The Game Boy Advance does, but the SP didn't. I didn't understand that. I'm like, wait a minute, how the fuck did you solve the mic problem? But damn, you don't want us to hear shit if we are trying to play it by ourselves. And
you know what it was? They didn't want you to hide underneath the covers with your earphones when you're supposed to be sleeping. No, I'm just kidding. No, I mean, remember, guys, the Game Boy Light, or the little thing, the magnifying glass and the light that goes on your Game Boy.
Remember the green Game Boy?
Yeah.
Fucking.
I remember there was an add-on called the Game Boy Arcade. Okay.
Oh yeah.
No, not with the dumb shit. And speakers.
No, it wasn't that. It was that, the speakers and the magnifying glass and the light.
I had that.
And it had.
Yeah.
Did you have the one that looked like a fucking pinball machine?
Yes.
Yeah. And it had the extra batteries.
Because you need them for the light.
Yeah, with a fucking thing where if you had the Game Boy AC adapter, the battery pack, rechargeable battery pack AC adapter, you could go ahead and hook that fucking thing up to it too. Oh man, I remember
the
that.
Game Boy camera.
Well, here's the thing is the funny thing about the Game Boy camera is that as simple as it was, it actually worked. We're talking about stupid things like Gray Mouse said, 2013 with the Xbox One and all the online shit. Okay, and I'm going to tell you as a PC gamer, PC gaming wasn't very far away from that. I will tell you that I began subscribing, I went ahead and became a Steam subscriber and also a client user all the way back in like 2009. Okay. The stupid thing about Steam back then, and they have fixed it and made ramifications since then, was that you could not set games when you were to sit there and set games up for offline mode to play things when you didn't have an internet connection. You had to be online to set it up.
What?
Yes. So if you were offline and you had 100 games installed through Steam on your fucking machine, they're actually there on your hard drive, and you couldn't connect up to the servers, you couldn't play that motherfucker.
Well, the funniest thing about it is there are certain games like on the Xbox 360. If you don't turn that bitch on for a while and then you turn it on, you have to go through a system update. I have no idea if games will still work without the system update, the latest update.
Well, for the multiplayer games, like the Call of Duties and the Halo.
If you're not trying to play multiplayer online, then you shouldn't be necessary. But I'm talking about.
But no, they still require you to update it. They're not going to let you go in at all.
What, not even in a single player mode?
I don't think so. I mean, I may be wrong.
No, the funny thing is that if you don't have an internet connection for the majority of those games, if there's an update, your system won't even know that there's an update there. So it should play. Now, there are games like the latest Tony Hawk, which was pretty much, hey, look, we've got a demo on disc, all right, that goes ahead that you could sit there and shoot up. You could start up and you could play in the system. But the day one patch wasn't really a patch. It was the actual fucking game because the update was 7 fucking gigs big. And if you didn't download the whole fucking thing to actually play and all you had was the disc, you were fucked. If you didn't have an internet connection and all you had was a disc, you were shit out of luck.
Controller cord length, especially for back in the day.
Well, for the Famicom,
that shit was attached to your phone.
That was actually there's actually purpose behind that. Maybe as an American we don't understand, but as a Japanese and for being over here in Japan for so long, a lot of the Japanese houses back in those times, they were really small.
Hey, now wait a minute. Atari wasn't in Japan. Atari was here, and those joystick controller cords were very, very short as well, because you had to have your console in front of you in order to interact with it as far as
I mean, that's the way it was.
Setting games and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like that was the way it was at the beginning of
the console. The Famicom missed out on Rob.
Yeah. Missed out?
I don't think it's...
What are they missing? Missed out.
But, see, with Rob, what a lot of people don't respect Rob. I mean, yeah, Gyro might and
respect.
No, I know. Hang on, hear me out.
2 fucking games.
No, that's fine. But listen. But the reason why it's very important.
Power Glove could be compatible for more games than fucking Rob.
Look, Rob did what it was supposed to do. It convinced motherfucking parents to.
No, Gun did more than that.
No, I think Rob had a very big part in convincing the American public that it's not a video game system.
The only thing that was fucked up about the Zapper was the noise it made when you fucking pulled the trigger.
Oh, come on, man.
You couldn't play that shit late at night, waking motherfuckers up. I tried.
You shouldn't be shooting ducks when you should be sleeping.
Fuck you. It was Christmas vacation. Dead serious. I got tired of being a plumber. I wanted to shoot those ducks and clays for a while, but I couldn't do that late night. So fuck that sound.
I mean, the Xbox One controller, it's loud too. It has a lot of clicking.
What?
Yeah. That's one thing that a lot of people are complaining about is that how can I play that at night when there's a lot of clicking? I don't have my Xbox One obviously here, but
here's one thing that always bugs me, and many console manufacturers are guilty of it, and that's giving us things on the console that consumers and customers do not want. I will give you a prime example. Okay, the Sony PSP, the original PSP, completely viable system, but yeah, after the DS came out, it had no fucking chance. Big reason being was that for the first 2 or 3 years, or actually for the first 2 years, 90% of the releases on the PSP, well, excuse me, 90% is an exaggeration. 70% of all the releases on the PSP were movies on UMD.
That was ridiculous.
And of the remaining 30% of the releases, 90% of those releases were games that you could play on the PS2 that controlled better and looked better.
Right. Yeah.
So maybe you had 1 or 2 exclusives over the fucking year that gave you an actual reason to own the console. Why the hell would you do that? Along that same line, remember I said this thing about the PS TV, the Vita. Obviously, Sony likes to go ahead and handle things through PSN in their online marketplace. Why the fuck would you make the memory so goddamn expensive if you want people to download it all the time?
The memory card was super expensive.
You know what? I could flip this for Nintendo. Nintendo's new 3DS. You can't get to the SIM card unless you flip it over and unscrew the back. And I don't know why the fuck they
Engage?
Huh?
Did they take lessons from the Engage? Because of the Engage, you have to take out your battery in order to put in your games.
No, you literally have to take the new 3DS, you have to flip it over, and you have to unscrew the back, and then you can access your memory card in the center of it. I don't know why they did that. Because the 3DS, you can access it off to the side. But
yeah, but here's the thing. Honestly, because I've got a 3DS and a new 3DS, okay? On my 3DS, my regular 3DS that has access to standard SD card, there's a 32 gig in there that I put in. I'm never fucking changed. All right.
Well, one thing
on the new 3DS, I put in a 64 gig. Guess what? Instead of costing me $110 like it would for the PSP fucking memory, it cost me $30 fucking dollars. Right?
And one thing too.
And guess what? I've never touched it.
One good thing too is that they have you can do because that's what I did with my my new 3DS. I actually transferred through the Nintendo, I guess the internet from one 3DS to the new 3DS. I mean, it's just the fact that if I were to change out the memory card, it kind of makes it a little, I don't know. It's a pain in the ass to get to.
Unless you're sitting there, unless you're only dropping an 8 gig SD card, micro SD card, you're not going to sit there and be changing that thing on a regular basis.
I have one. The Panasonic 3DO only had one controller slot. You had to daisy chain your controllers because the actual controllers actually had controller slots on the controllers. So that's the way you plugged in second player, third player.
I don't know what the fuck they were thinking. How retarded? You got one main controller and then you got your controller and you just controller.
So if I'm playing with someone, if I don't really like them, loosen it up.
Motherfuckers will be fighting for player one spot. That's all I gotta say.
That's the only way that games would actually.
You're losing a
Street Fighter. Did that.
Fuck! I'm sorry. I don't know what happened to your controller. Worse than fucking kicking the console when you're playing the NES.
Well, I mean, one thing too I think we mentioned at the beginning of the video is Atari's last hoorah in the console. You know, with the Jaguar.
More like a whimper.
You know what I meant, but it's like, why did you even bother? You know, it was a failure.
But let's stop right there. Atari, when it moved on and on and on, first party and third party support wasn't really all that great.
What third party support?
That's my point. Third party support was just non-existent, and they actually, I don't know. It just, yeah.
But we can agree their efforts were better than those of the guys who are trying to push the Coleco Chameleon.
Oh, God. Oh, Lord. No.
That was when you open up there's a Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that, man. That watch our other videos about that.
Okay, I understand. That's probably hitting below the belt, but fuck those guys. Really.
It's not.
All right.
They
It's
fucked
not
up
hitting
on
nail
that.
to
No one and nothing is above scrutiny.
Like I said, fuck those
Or
guys.
criticism.
It's not even scrutiny. Those guys failed. All right. All right. And everybody is better off. Even the starving kids in Ethiopia. That fucking console didn't come out. Yeah. With that said, I think you pretty much get the idea. And you know what?
Much
Generally,
more.
let's
We may
let's
have to
just
revisit this.
We didn't even touch the freaking the pad, you know, and
Oh, the power pad.
the power pad. We didn't touch the. There's
the
a lot of
lasers
stuff we
dropping
didn't
out of alignment on the Sony PS1.
What about the Sega Menacer and the Super Scope 6?
touch. That's what I'm saying. We didn't touch a lot of these peripherals, man.
Here's the thing. If anybody thinks that we're fanboys of any one fucking system, all right, let's just put it out right now. If you give us an afternoon, actually give us a weekend. Give us a fucking week. Maybe a month. All right, longer than a month, you'd have to fucking pay us. But we can go on for a long, long fucking time about the stupid shit that console developers, whether they be Nintendo, Sega, Atari, Sony, Philips, Magnavox, NEC, Microsoft. Yeah, like I said, we can go on and on about this bullshit, about the stupid things that they've done in the fucking industry, because we just happen to be around long enough to go ahead and see that shit happen.
Gamers.
Okay? That's how that is. But, you know, that's all just extraneous bullshit, and we're really kind of cutting the bullshit right here, because otherwise we'd have to start up another video. All right? With that,
Yeah, we can revisit this.
yes, indeed, and I'm pretty sure we will. All right. With that, YouTube, thank you very much for sticking with us over the last 30 minutes or so. Getting with us all the way to the end. If you're so kind, hit the subscribe button, hit like, leave us a comment. If there's something that you think really fucking blew or sucked, whether or not, look, I don't care if it's Mega Made on reverse or fucking forward, all right? Go ahead and leave a comment below. We'll go ahead and respond back to it, and maybe we'll make a video about it. All right? With that, we're the three middle-aged dudes just bullshitting about nothing. Ends here. I am the Reverend.
The theme here.
Gray Mouse 1.
Once again, for the benefits of common sense, logic, and gaming, and fucked up peripherals, fucked up controllers, fucked up systems, portables that are now portables. I could go on and on about this shit. Oh my god. Memories of fucked up shit. Oh, damn. Middle age, man. I've been gaming ever since 1980. Shit. Wow. Credits.
President Scrooge, these games have gone from suck to blow.
No. He has the upside. I have the downside, you see. Two sides of every sports.
This is your last chance to hit the cancellation button.
Cancellation button? Quit. Out of order? Fuck. Even in the future, nothing works.